In today's training, we're going to be doing a deep dive into the reporting functionality in the Voyant Canadian software. I'm going to go to my reports section and let's review a couple of things. The first thing I wanted to point out to you is this review, configure, and generate section. So each time you add different reports, they're going to appear up here in this section. Since we haven't added anything yet, the only thing you're going to see is your cover page. And I did want to point out to you that you can configure this cover page. If you are a paraplanner who is pulling a report for another user in your subscription, you'll have options to show this report as being presented by other users in your subscription. I'm going to click Save for now. The second thing I wanted to show you is that as you add various reports, you'll see them populate up here. You can also, once you've decided on a specific report set. Once you have a report set that you find that you generally enjoy using, you can save that report set, give it a name, click that plus button right next to the name, and then now you'll see it in your drop-down anytime you want to go back and just repopulate that report set. The other thing I wanted to show you is that once you have selected the reports for the plan that you would like to run it for, if you'd also like to show a comparison plan, you can do that by clicking the name of select a plan here and selecting the plan that you want to show in comparison to their base plan. So let's say, for example, I want to show a comparison for a few of these reports for this version of their plan. I can do that by selecting the ones that I want to compare, and those will now appear down here at the bottom. And if you wanted to move them to different places in the flow of the report, you can just simply by clicking and dragging them up to where you'd like them to appear. So now we have assets next to assets, cash flow next to cash flow, and our estate analysis side by side. For all of these different reports, you have the ability to configure them in different ways just by clicking these three dots here in the right hand corner, selecting configure, and you'll see different things depending on the report type. But for example, in our financial summary, you have the ability to change the chart that is shown. You can turn off different insights if they're not relevant to your client, and you can even put in a note here that will appear at the bottom of this report. For your detailed reports like cash flow, assets, and taxes, you can also determine which years are going to show. By default, it's going to show every single year in the plan, but if you want to limit that and make it a shorter report, maybe you want to do just the first 20 years, every fifth year, the first 5 years, you can do that by adjusting these items here. And you can also put notes in these reports as well. Itemized expense report. This is going to show every single expense in the plan year on year. This is a great one if you wanted to have a more detailed discussion about expenses. And you can also do the same thing where you configure this down to just a specific period of time if you don't want to discuss every year in the plan. You can also change what this itemized expense report is for. So by default, it's going to do just the people in the plan, but if you have a holding company or a trust, you can also switch this over and print the itemized expense report for those entities as well. So let's click Save, and then we're going to generate this report. Once your report populates, you'll see it up here in the top right in your downloads, and you can open that up and run through the report and ensure that it has all of the information that you're needing for your report. Your notes will be at the bottom here of each report that you've added. The other thing I wanted to show you about this, if we reset our selections, I'm going to select one of our detailed reports. For most of these reports, you have this data export option where you can export raw data and images. So if you ever need to have access to the raw data for these detailed reports, you would just need to toggle that on and run the report, and it will not only download the PDF version but also a Excel version of the data, and you'll be able to copy the raw images as well. So we have in here our zip file, we've got the PDF report, the table, This is going to be where your Excel spreadsheet version of this exists. So you can come in here and use the data in this way. And then if we go back to our images file, this is going to have any images that were in that report that you ran, and you can copy these as needed. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions about running reports or would like to walk through some different ideas regarding this with somebody from our support team, you can always reach out to us at support@planwithvoyant.com or click the name of your client in the top right, request support, enter your question into the text box, and share client access. Thanks for listening.